we'll get started with PinCommerce Week 2. And this is mostly going to be live training. This isn't really slides where I'm kind of telling you stuff. Last week I told you a whole bunch of things to do in slides. And this week I'm actually going to be taking you through some live setups of different pages. So you must watch Week 1 and the intro webinar and last week's webinar for context, or this is not really going to make a lot of sense to you. So please go back and watch those and ask any questions that you have here in the questions thread so I can answer it live. One thing that I do want to talk about was the thing that people had two things from last week that I want to cover before we move into this week's training, which was last week I talked a little bit about the setup for an e-commerce business, what I would consider to be the most optimal setup for an e-commerce business. And it really confused a lot of people with regard to how they should be set up, and should I use Shopify, and what if I have my own website, and do I need WordPress, and all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of want to clear the air on that before we dig into this week's training and just talk about what you will need for this course and what I believe to be the optimal setup for an e-commerce business. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to my, open up my browser here, go to my Boom website. So this is my website for boombycindyjoseph.com, and this is my website for BeFriendlySkincare.com. I'll just use BeFriendly as an example for now. We'll see if it loads up. Taking a moment. And this is a Shopify e-commerce website. So it's a Shopify website. We're using Shopify as our platform, and this is our store. Now, what we also do, so I recommend, so this is where it got confusing last week. I recommend that all e-commerce businesses have a Shopify store. I think that Shopify is the best platform for a number of reasons. I'll go into a few of them. We discussed this on the e-commerce community last night as well. But you know, when you look at e-commerce platforms today, you've got the old guard, Yahoo, ShopSite, Magento, Xcart, Zencart, all these sort of legacy e-commerce platforms that are not really up to date with the times. You know, they don't really have mobile responsive themes readily available. They're not as widely used. And then you kind of have the new guard of e-commerce platforms. Bye, honey. The new guard of e-commerce platforms, which is really, there's three of them. There's BigCommerce, there's Shopify, and there's Volusion. BigCommerce, Shopify, and Volusion. And Shopify is winning the race as far as users. Shopify has 100,000 active stores, and they have, so because they have so many more users, they've got a much wider third-party developer network. And what that means is that there's a lot more people building applications for the Shopify platform than there are for the BigCommerce platform and the Volusion platform. So on Shopify, you get a lot more support because there's a lot more people using it, so there's a lot more developers, and there's a lot more cool stuff that plugs into the Shopify store than does any of those other platforms. And I showed this last night. If you go to Google Trends and you just do a search, and you just say that you want to see like BigCommerce is one, and then you want to see Shopify. Look at that. Look at the difference. And let's try the other way that BigCommerce is searched as well. So Shopify is out there, you know, rubbing elbows with the Richard Bransons and the Shark Tanks, and they're also a commerce platform. So they have an integrated POS system. They're more than just an e-commerce platform. So I really believe that they're the best e-commerce platform out there. For you know, we've moved all of our stores over to Shopify, and I think that if you're going to have a traditional e-commerce store, the kind that we have, this, by the way, is just showing the graph of sort of the popularity based on what Google can tell on search volume and stuff like that of these two different queries, Shopify versus BigCommerce. And Shopify's got significantly, as you can see, more. But so you don't actually need a Shopify platform for this course. Now, with the Dipsy Doodle sales funnel, our Don Daliber, the one we've been showing you, so our actual sales page, not our pre-sale page that we talked about last week, but our sales page is our Shopify store in this case. We're dropping people right over here onto our Shopify store. This week, I'm going to show you 3 funnels: Amazon, a second way to do Amazon, and Shopify. So you could use Shopify. You could. but you don't need it for this course. If you're just an Amazon business owner, you don't need Shopify. So a lot of people thought, oh man, I got to go quick and get my Shopify store built and get it ready for the course. You don't actually need it. It was just a suggestion. I just suggest that all e-commerce business owners have a traditional e-commerce store, and the platform that I like the best is Shopify, and that's what I suggest. Now, you will need a place to host your Dipsy Doodle pages. Now, we are hosting them on, let's see if we can go here, skincare.com. I'm going to take you through all this, by the way, the actual setup of it all. We are hosting them on a subdomain of our regular website. So you can see that BeFriendlySkincare.com is a Shopify store, right? That's the Shopify store. Now, we purchased a hosting account from GoDaddy, as I discussed last week, and on that hosting account, we installed WordPress, and then we went into our domain and we said, create a subdomain of this domain name and point the IP address to this hosting account. Now, it's super easy to do, and GoDaddy or whoever your hosting provider will help you with it. And this is the only reason we're doing this. The reason we have this WordPress blog, so blog.befriendlyskincare.com, you'll notice that we have used the home page that I gave you for the Dipsy Doodle for the home page of that blog. So that, and I'm going to take you through all the setup of all that and why we did it that way. And we've got the other version. This is actually the sales page, the pre-sale page, the Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page template. We've just modified it to be the contact page. I'm going to take you through how we did that. But this is the reason we have this blog is to host our lead pages. Now, when you're in lead pages, what you'll notice is that if you click, if you open up a lead page, if you just open, one that's already published, there's a couple ways to publish it, right? You could use the lead page's published URL, and some people are doing that. But I would recommend actually putting it on your own URL through WordPress. So you can use WordPress. You could also literally download the HTML file after you create the lead page and just upload it to your website. So the whole thing I was trying to tell you last week was just so that you would have a place to host your lead pages that you're creating for this course. That's all I wanted for you, was so that you would have a WordPress blog that you could host your lead pages for this course. And that's why I was telling you to set up WordPress. It's not the only way to publish a lead page. You could literally, upload it to your own server. You could publish it on a Facebook tab, which I don't recommend for this course, or you could do the WordPress version, which I think is going to be your best bet. So as an e-commerce business owner, you're going to have a main domain name. That domain name could be a Shopify store. It could be a single landing page that then leads people to Amazon. And you're going to need a place to host your lead pages. So I hope that clarifies it for you. If there's any more questions about that, I'd love to answer those questions and really get you clear on kind of how to do the setup and the most optimal way to do the setup. And now what I want to do is take you into lead pages. And last week what we did, so here's what we're going to do today. Today we are going to, I'm going to come back over to my lead pages account here. Today we are going to go through the setup of our Dipsy Doodle pages on lead pages and how to set those up and how to set them up right. We're going to place our Google Analytics code and our Facebook pixels on them, and we are going to look at where to send them and how to send them places. And that's what we're going to do today. We're basically building out the landing pages so that on next week's call, a week from today, we can begin setting up all of our Pinterest ads. We're going to actually set up our Pinterest ads campaigns and set up our, go through some ones that are live and look at how to find keywords for Pinterest. And we're going to talk a little bit about Facebook ads as well. So this week is really about the setup of the landing pages and the sales funnels so that they're optimized so that we can then send traffic to them. And next week is going to be about actually sending the traffic. So the first page that I would like to show you is this one. I'm going to click Edit. Now this page, once it loads, and we'll take questions at the end. I'm just going to run through all this, and then we'll do a big Q&A section at the end. All right, so what this is the Dipsy Doodle page. And now I have modified this page, so I'm going to show you the modifications that I've made. I've deleted many elements. I've added my own content. So the first thing that I did was I switched out the logo. This was the logo that was there, Organic Exclusive was the logo that was there. So if I go ahead and select that and click Done, you'll notice there it is. I actually switched out the logo to be my own logo. Now, one thing that you have to note that I've seen on a lot of your pages, your Dipsy Doodle pages, is that they look a little funky because your logos are too big. You don't want this logo to be more than 30 pixels in height. Now, it recommends 300 in width, so you can try to get that, but you'll notice that mine's not actually 300 in width, but it is 30 pixels in height. If it's more than 30 pixels in height, what it's going to do is it's going to push down the header, and your header won't look good. I have added my phone number here for my company, so if we go to the Be Friendly website, you'll notice this is our phone number. I've added my phone number here. And I also want to answer the question about whether or not you should host this on your own website or whether or not you should host it on a separate blog, but I'm going to do that at the end. First, I'm going to show you all the setup, and then I'll tell you, what's best there. I added my own website. I have made these links here. I've modified these links, so I have home, I have store, I have our blog, I have about, and I have contact. I'm going to show you how I made all those pages after we keep going. And then what I've done is I've put my article in here. So this is the pre-sale article that we're running here. Are your skincare products banned in other countries? 3 shocking ingredients that do more harm than good. And then I've kind of pasted my content in there. And the cool thing about lead pages is you can come here and let's say you want to make this bigger. You can just come here, you can change the font size to 24. And now that's a little bit bigger. So you have complete control over the font size of the elements on your Dipsy Doodle page. And you'll notice that where we initially, content box 1, if I open this up, this is content box 1. It's the image and the content to the right. That's the first piece of content. And you can open that up and you can say, you know what, I don't want to show that content, I only want to show the image, but I want to show both. Or I don't want to show the image, I only want to show the content. So lead pages is very editable. So here, where initially I had, let's see, this picture, so if I go back to it, this is what's shown, this is what comes with the template, and you'll notice that lead pages recommends 570 pixels wide. The thing about editing lead pages templates is you just have to make sure that the images that you're uploading are the same width that they recommend. You'll notice that the one that I actually made, go ahead and put this in there, the one that I made is significantly taller than the one that was in the example, but it's the same width. So when you're editing your lead pages templates, you want to make sure that the images that you put in there are the same width as what lead pages recommends. Now what I did was I went to iStockPhoto.com and this is where I bought my image. I went to iStockPhoto.com, I put in skincare, and I came down here and I sorted for square images, and then I found one that I liked and I downloaded it, and then I took it into Photoshop. You could use PicMonkey for this if you don't have Photoshop. PicMonkey.com is a great one that you could use for this. Really easy, free trial, 30-day free trial. You can add text on top of your images. And I added this overlay, 3 ingredients banned in other countries. So now I have a nice looking image. I put my text here. Content box 2, I put all of the content from my article, and I made some stuff bold, you know what I mean? I made this one 20 points, so I wanted this to stick out, so I made it a little bit bigger. And the key with your Dipsy Doodle pages is design does matter. I had a guy showing me his page, and he's like, look, it's not working. And I was like, look, bro, your page is really funky, and there's a lot of big spaces, and it's just not designed well. So you want to make sure that you leverage the design elements. You'll notice that the way that I've laid out this lead page, it looks fantastic. Looks really clean. And so I've done that deliberately. Now we've got content box 3, I've added some text, and now here I am making the pitch, I'm making the transition into the pitch for the products. And so I've got my next block of content, now I'm transitioning into the pitch. I've got some more content here. I went ahead and made a big headline, another link, another image here, and now I'm just continuing with the content of my article, product shot, more calls to action, and then now I'm rolling into using video content. Now you'll notice that if I open up content box 7, this shows up. But I'm not actually using that box. I'm not using that block, so I'm going to get rid of it. I'm also not using this block, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then I've got another video. I'm not using any of these blocks. 13, I'm not using block 12, which is this whole part of the page and this image. So basically what I did, I'm not using block 15, which is the block with the bullets. So I'm only using certain elements of the page. What I did here on this page is, you'll notice this is a really, really long page. The reason I made this page so long, right, this is what the page looks like when you go in to start editing it. Headline, subheadline, image, some layouts, another image, block, headline, video option, headline, content. I've made this super long so you could pick and choose the elements that you wanted to use. Now let's say, for example, you wanted to add a headline right here, but you want it to be one of these headlines, but that's only included in block 7. Well, you could just copy that text from block 7, come up here, and paste it in there, and now you have that same text. So you can copy the text. You can't replace where the images are, but any of this text that you want to use, you can paste into any one of the blocks. So that's how lead pages work. So the point is that I have edited and modified this page to my liking to fit the content that I wrote from my Dipsy Doodle page. And now I want to take you down to the footer. And I want to show you that under Follow Us, I've connected this to my Twitter account. So I clicked Twitter, and I put my Twitter URL in there. So if we were to actually go to this page live, this is what this page looks like live, right? If I were to scroll down to the bottom and click on Twitter, it's going to take me over to that Twitter account. I'm having a little bit of a hard time loading. I'm just going to check, make sure you guys are being able to hear me okay. Okay, cool, you guys can hear me. So that's all set up. So in the footer, I have, if you don't, let's say for example, you don't have a Google Plus or you don't have a Twitter, what you can do is you can click on footer left, and you can say get rid of. You can open up social. You can say get rid of icon 1 and also social text 1, and now that's not going to show up. So you can get rid of any element you want. I've added links to the footer, home, disclaimer, terms of use, privacy policy. You're going to need a privacy policy and a terms of use. So if you don't have a privacy policy, I'm going to show you how to use this exact page to create all these pages that you need. So don't worry about that, but you're going to need the link to a terms of use and a privacy policy in your footer, and you're going to need to have this thing here that says this page is an advertisement for Bee Friendly Skincare at the bottom. So you'll notice I've added to the footer text, I've said this page is an advertisement to Bee Friendly Skincare. So this page exists, right? Now I'm going to do some things to it. We got to edit it a little bit, but before we do, I want to show you how I got the nav menu, because look, if we go to the nav, we can see if we go home, it takes us to that home page of our blog. And if we go to About Us, it takes us to an About Us page that completely fits in with the way this template looks. Contact, it takes us to a Contact Us page. So how did I do all of that? How did I create all of these pages on this template so that I have a nice, cohesive looking blog that I can put my pre-sale articles on? Because the truth is, maybe 0.5% will ever click About, Contact, Home, Our Blog, or Disclaimer or anything, because you're going to be sending all of your traffic to this page. You're going to send all your traffic to your pre-sale page. Very, very few people are going to click anything but the links to the products. Most people are going to click the link to the product, and they're going to go over to your sales page, your Don Daliber, whatever that happens to be for you, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways to set that up. But you need it so that you have the About, you have the Contact, you have the home page, you have the terms of use and the privacy policy, so that you've got a legitimate website that's not like just a standalone article that nobody could click around on, that doesn't look legit. So you've got to have these things. So let's talk about how we did that. Okay. So the first thing that I did, I'm going to just save this. I'm going to X out of here. So I opened up a new lead page. I went in, I opened up a new lead page, I came in, I switched out my logo again, right? I switched out my phone number, did all that, and I got rid of almost everything. So I'll show you, I actually go into it. So I'm going to close out of here. So be friendly about. I'm going to click edit to this. So you'll notice that almost every element has been deleted. So content 2, I'm only using content box 1. That's it. Content 2, I'm not using content 2 either. I'm only using content box 1 and content box 9. I'm not using content box 2. I'm not using content box 3. I'm not using content box 4. I'm using only just a little bit of the page. So I basically used one image. I put about our company here. I put in my about text. I modified the footer to have my social links and my disclaimers and all that kind of stuff. I modified the header to match, and I saved that page. On the contact, I opened up another page just like this. I created a new lead page just like this. I got rid of everything. Actually, what I did was after I'd created the about page, I just clicked on this and I clicked duplicate page. And then I said, contact. And I click duplicate. It already exists, so contact 1. I click duplicate, and then basically that gave me an already semi-edited version of the page, so I could just go in and change it up. So what I want to do is I want to take you, so you have to create your about page. Basically on your about page, a little bit about your company. Contact, I'm going to edit the contact page so you can see what we did there. So contact page, basically we just put another image. We said contact us anytime. We're here to serve you. We'd love to hear from you. If you need to contact us. And by the way, if you go to blog.befriendlyskincare.com, you can see this whole setup. You can see our home page. You can see our about page. You can see our contact page. And if you go back to the home page, you can actually click through by clicking read more, 3 ingredients banned in other countries, and also these shocking ingredients do more harm than good. If you click read more on any one of those, it's going to take you right over to the Dipsy Doodle pre-sale article, which is still showing that promoted pin for some reason, so I got to fix that. So let me continue with how this is set up. So we have our about page. So then in WordPress, here's what we did. We came over to our Lead Pages plugin. We clicked on Add New. And we said we want to use the Be Friendly, let's do contact 1, and we call it /contact. I'm going to do contact 1. I'm going to publish that. So now that contact page that I just duplicated is a lead page that shows up here. And now it's at blog.befriendlyskincare.com /contact 1. So blog.befriendly. So now we have this page that exists here. So once we have these URLs, once we had published, if we go back to the blog, the admin of the blog here, we go to lead pages, you can see that we had published, I'm going to delete this one because we're not using it actually, the one that we just made. We created, basically all we did was we created the about page, the contact page, and that article, that pre-sale article, and a blog homepage. Okay? So we created those 3 pages, about, contact, and blog. And when we set them up, if I click into it, we set them up, we set their URLs. So then what I could do, once I had those URLs and they were published to my website, then what I could do is I could come over here, and if this is too fast, we'll go back through it, don't worry. But I'm just running you through it all so you can see it, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about it. Then what I could do was on the article, click Edit. Then I could come to my menu, and I could say for about, I'm going to click that, link that to /about. For contact, link that to /contact, because I had created those pages, right? I'd created the about page in lead pages with the same template, and I published it to my website. So then I could come back and actually edit my menu and have those pages exist. Now you'll notice I'm cheating a little bit too, because I have home, which goes to just a / which is blog dot, and our blog, which goes to the same place. So I'm actually linking from 2 places in the menu because I needed an extra page, I needed an extra space in the menu. So I'm linking to the home from home, and I'm linking to the home from our blog. So if I click our blog, it's also going to take me to the home page. Now I'm going to show you how to set up the home page. But basically, create an about page, create a contact page. You can copy the style that we've done here using the Dipsy Doodle pre-sale article layout. Just delete all the elements you don't want except for a headline, 1 image, and some text. So you have some about text and some contact text. So those are 2 pages you're going to need to create, because on your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale article, which is if we go to skincare band, you are going to want to have links to actual pages that fit in with this theme, so if someone does click on about or contact or our blog, it doesn't just look like nothing. You know what I mean? So create about page, create contact page using the same template, publish them to your lead pages account, to your WordPress blog, and then link to them in the menu. Now we're going to talk about the home page. I can see the questions pouring in. I'm going to, I'm going to show you all this. I'm going to answer all your questions and take you through all this. But what I'm trying to do is help you get set up a pre-sale. Once you've written your pre-sale page, you want to design it within the template in such a way that it's actually going to work for you. And if you don't have, an about page, if you don't have a contact page, if you're not linking back to a store home, a blog home, then it's not going to really look legit. So that's our goal with this. Now the store link for us links over to our Shopify store, but for you that might link straight to Amazon if that's what you're running to. So let's now go back to our templates. I'm going to take you to the blog home. I'm going to click Edit, because this is the blog home page that I created. So again, I replaced the logo here with my logo. That's only 30 pixels in height. I left this image because it's it's a skincare blog. Although I'd recommend that you switch out Cindy's image. We don't really want you using that. And I put the same menu, home, our blog, about and contact, and store linking to the same places. I put a little bit of text, keep up to date with all the organic skincare news. You'll be blown away by what you found on our blog. We keep our ear to the ground for everything organic and natural. So I'm using all these elements of the theme. I'm using this element. Now, over here on the right, I'm only using 2 of the 3 image options. So there's actually, I could actually have a third ad, and it could have another banner there, but I'm actually only using 2 of them, and I'm only using 3 of the 5 post options. So you can see there's another post, and even another post. You could have up to 3 more. I'm only using, let me get rid of those, that one and that one. I'm actually only using 3. And you'll notice that the first 2 of them actually link to the same place. So I just kept the images that were on there. These are stock images. Fine for you to use them. 3 ingredients banned in other countries. And then I clicked the read more, and I actually linked it over to our pre-sale article. And then I did this other one, 3 shocking ingredients that do more harm than good. Same thing. I made a link. I just selected some text, and I clicked on the link, and I had it link over to the same place. And then here I just had this one linked to our other article, because the truth of the matter is not many people are going to come to the home page, and most people aren't going to click down here, so I don't mind linking off to one other random article. So I didn't even change these images out. I just changed the text. I did change out these banners, and you'll notice that when you click this banner, it gives you an option to link it somewhere. So I linked that to our, I linked this banner to our store, and I linked this banner also to our store. You could also have them link nowhere. It doesn't really matter where these banners link, because this page is not really going to get used other than to be your home page. And I've got my same footer, linked to my Twitter, linked to my terms of use and privacy. So, I already have, you'll notice, for Be Friendly, a privacy policy and a terms of use. So I just linked to those. But what you are going to have to do is actually create a page, so what you do is you come over here, you click on create a new page, and you would then modify this page so that it has, you know, your logo and the correct header and all that. And you get rid of almost every element. You get rid of all this stuff. You don't need any of this stuff down here. We'll just go down, we'll watch it all get deleted. Get rid of that. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this because we don't need it. We don't need this block. 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 We definitely don't need that video block. We definitely don't need this block. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. Get rid of that block, this block, and we're going to get rid of that block, and that block. And then this is probably all you'd use. Then you'd say privacy policy. We care about the safety of your information. Read below to see our company's privacy policy. And then you're going to want to put a privacy policy here. So you might go find a sample privacy policy for your website. Here's a good one, right? So you can use that. There's a bunch of free resources out there for privacy policies. You can kind of make one sort of off of the one that we have if you want. Use this as a, you know, obviously I'm not a lawyer. I do not give legal advice. If you want to consult a lawyer and get legal advice about how to create your privacy policy, you can do that. Shopify has some good resources, but basically you need to create a privacy policy page, and then what you would do is after you created it, again, you would come into your lead pages. So let's say I created this page. I'll just I'll call this page. I'm not actually going to edit it. I'll call it privacy policy. I'll click done. I'm going to save this page. I'm going to publish it. Now that it's published, over here in my lead pages account, if I click on lead pages on my blog and add a new page, there it is, privacy policy. So I would name that /privacy. And I would click publish. And then once I did that, I would have that URL, which was blog.befriendlyskincare.com/privacy. There it exists. It would have my privacy policy, it would have my logo, my correct header, and all that. Of course, I'd have to modify the links, make sure they link the correct places. Then I would take that URL, I'd come back to all my other lead pages. So I'll go back to my lead pages, go back and edit, let's say, the article to start with. And I would come down to my footer. I'd edit my privacy policy. I'd put in the link to the correct page, call it privacy policy, and be done. And you'll notice that in the footer, you know, under quick links, if we scroll down to the footer, footer center, footer link left, I'm not using all these links, right? I'm only using two on each side, on footer left and footer right here. So the pages, again, that you're going to need to create, okay? These are the pages you need to create. I'll go back. You need to use the blog homepage template to create a blog homepage that looks like this, that has, you know, some text, has the proper links. You'll notice that I'm actually linking to it from 2 spots on each of my pages, from home and our blog. So, you know, put some text. You can use some sample images. Click read more. If you want these to just link out to other people's articles, that's totally fine. They don't have to link to internal articles. I'd make the first 2 links here link to your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page the same way we've done. And then if you want a 3rd one, you can just link out to another article, because nobody's really going to be using this homepage. It's really just there in case a user does click home, and so that you actually have a real-looking website and a real blog, and you don't just have like some, you know, random one-page website. So you're going to need a homepage. You're going to need an about page, so about your company that fits in with the theme. You're going to need a contact page that also fits in with the theme, and again, it has the same header, same links in the header. So on this page, once I published all these pages, I modified the links in the headers so that they all, you know, went back to the right places. The same links in the footer. You're going to need a terms of use and a privacy policy. So those are the pages you need. Home page, about, contact, terms of use, privacy policy, and of course, you need your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page. And this is all getting us set up so that we can run ads to our Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page. Now, there's a couple more things that we need on these pages that I don't have. Oh, one other thing really quickly, actually. Under lead pages, when I click Add New, once I've created the home page, so once I've created this lead page, that is the home page that I'm using both for our blog and home, once I've created this, over here under lead pages, when I go to Add New, the lead page type, I have to set home page in order for that to actually be the home page of my blog, blog.befriendlyskincare.com. So in WordPress, I actually, when I'm setting up my lead page, have to select home page before I select the page, which in our case was blog home. That was what we named it, and publish that so that it actually does show up on the home page of my pre-sale blog. Now you could also, if you had something else on the home page, you could just put it at slash home, and then just make sure that when you link from your pre-sale article that you link to /home. So let's say, for example, that you got to the point of you had created your home page of your blog, right, which linked out to your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page. You created your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page. Here it is. It's laid out nicely. Don't worry, I'm going to talk to you about how to link it and where to link it in a moment. You had your about page. You had your contact page. You created a terms of use and a privacy policy. So basically, you now have a website that is ready to run direct response traffic from Pinterest to. You've got a really nice, well-written pre-sale article that pre-sells your products that then leads on to your Don Daliber, which may be over to Amazon, which we're going to talk about in a moment, which may be to your own Shopify store, which may be to an opt-in. I'm going to tell you a whole other strategy. But you had this, so you're kind of like, hey, I'm ready for traffic. I got all these pages made. What do I do now? Well, there's a couple things that we need to do to these pages before we can run the traffic to them. And I sure hope that lead pages load. Sometimes they're a little slow. So I'm going to open up a whole new thing here, see if I can get this to work. All right, my lead pages, and we're going to click on Edit on the Be Friendly article. Let's hope that works. So while we're waiting for that, you'll notice that I have Google Analytics. I had you set up a Google Analytics account. So this is the Google Analytics account for blog.befriendlyskincare.com. Come on, baby. Yeah, we're in. Sweet. So I have this Google Analytics account. Now what I need to do, once I have my Google Analytics account set up, is I need to go to Admin, and then Tracking Info, and Tracking Code. And that's going to give me a tracking code. So again, I'm in my Google Analytics account. I've got it set up. It doesn't even have to be integrated to my WordPress website. Like a lot of times what people are doing, what I suggested you do was show you what I suggested you do. Let's see, do we have Yoast on here? Setting. Okay, maybe we don't have Yoast on here, but analytics. So this must be Yoast. So basically, even if you don't have, Google Analytics by Yoast. So if you haven't installed Google Analytics by Yoast and connected that to your blog, it doesn't matter, because this isn't going to matter. For the purpose of these lead pages, you don't even need Google Analytics by Yoast installed on your WordPress blog. Lead pages works a little bit differently. So all you need is the actual Google Analytics account set up with the correct URL name. So once you have that set up, you say, okay, I have a Google Analytics account. You don't even need to install Yoast and do any of this kind of stuff, because we're going to be putting the code directly on lead pages. So here I am in the back end of my WordPress blog. You may want to put Yoast on your WordPress blog for any other pages that you might publish on this blog, but for the purpose of our Dipsy Doodle setup, you'll notice that every page, every single one, the pre-sale page, the home page, the about page, all these pages are all lead page templates. They're all the Dipsy Doodle lead pages templates. So we have to manually place our tracking code so that inside of Google Analytics we can track how many users we're getting and where they're coming from. So you go to Admin, you go to tracking info, you go to tracking code, and that gives you the tracking code. Okay, that gives you the tracking code. So you're going to copy that. You're going to come over to your lead page, and you're going to go to lead pages options and tracking codes. And then in the body tag, end of body tag, you could put either one. Head tag will work too. I put it in the body because over here they say to get all the benefits, copy and paste this code into every web page you want to track. And they tell you to do it after the body tag if you want to do it with PHP. Doesn't matter where you put it on the page. I like to do the body code, so I put it here. So I put that in, I click done, and now I click save. And now this specific page is being tracked by Google Analytics. Now, I'm actually going to have to do that to every one of the pages I created so they all get tracked. So I'd actually have to go in to my lead pages account. I'd have to go into the about page that I created, click on edit, and now that's going to take a while. And then I'd have to come over to lead pages options, tracking codes, and I already have it placed because I placed it in the head, but I'm going to show you guys doing it in the body. And I have to place the tracking code right in the body of that page and click save. So my Google Analytics tracking code is now installed, if I do that for every single page, on all of the pages that I've created here. Home page, same thing, about page, contact. If you're doing terms of use and privacy policy, if you don't already have those and you made pages for those, same deal. You got to put the tracking code on that page. So that will give you the ability in reporting under Google Analytics to track the number of visitors. So you can go to like acquisition and all traffic, and you can see all the people who have visited your website and where they came from inside of Google Analytics, which we want. That's why, this is one of the reasons why I recommend not just publishing your page, and using the lead pages URL. Using this and just saying, oh, I'm going to send all my ads to this URL. I don't even need to install my own WordPress website. I don't need to do anything because lead pages will host a page for me. They will, but then you won't be able to track anything inside of Google Analytics. So that's why I recommend having it on your own server. Now there's one more thing we need to do on all these pages, and it has to do with Facebook ads. So we also want to build a retargeting list. If we're going to be sending a whole bunch of traffic from Pinterest and other places to this particular URL right here, right? We're sending all this particular URL. Well, we want to build a retargeting pixel, a retargeting group of people who landed on this page. So the way we're going to do that is inside of our Facebook ads account. We're going to go to audiences. We're going to click on create an audience and custom audience and website traffic. And then what we want is anyone who visits specific pages, not anyone who visits our website, but anyone who visits specific pages. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the URL here and we're going to paste that in there. So now we've got people who visit a specific page. We want to include people who visit this particular web page in the last 30 days, and we're going to call it Be Friendly Pre-Sell 3 Ingredients Visitors, because that's the name of the pre-sell. Create audience. Okay, now I have that audience created. Now, if you've ever created an audience before, it's not going to give you the code because you should already have it. So basically you have to check next to the audience, click on Actions and View Pixel. That gives you a pixel. Copy that pixel, and then you would come over into this page. You would come over into the lead pages options, tracking codes, and this one actually must go into the header, and you paste that in the header. And then you click Done and Save. Now I deleted my Google Analytics code, so I'd have to put that back on there because I'm editing this page in 2 places, right? So over here, actually, the Google Analytics code is in the body where we just put it. Paste that in there. So again, what we just did was we went into our Facebook ads account and we went over to audiences and we clicked on create an audience. We did a custom audience, and we used website traffic. We set it for a specific web page. We pasted in the URL of our web page, which we've published to our blog, and we named it. We clicked on create audience, and then we selected that audience. We clicked actions, view pixel. We got the pixel, and we pasted it onto our lead page. And what this is going to do is it's going to let us build a custom audience of people who visit this web page, so that later we can come and advertise to these people. So we can advertise to all the people who landed on this page who maybe didn't buy yet. And it's going to build a group of all the people we send to this page so we can run Facebook ads to them. And we're going to be doing retargeting ads in this course. We're going to be talking about how to retarget the people who land on your Facebook, who land on your pre-sale page. So again, what we've done so far is we've laid out our Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page using the template. If you don't have videos, don't worry, you don't need them. As you know, they are nice if you have them, but if you don't have them, you don't need them. Still works. We've created an about page, a contact page, a home page for our blog, a privacy policy and a terms of use page. We've published them to our WordPress blog. We've linked them in our menus. We've linked up to our social profiles that we had, and now we have a website that has Google Analytics tracking and a Facebook retargeting pixel on it. So now we are actually ready to run traffic to this page. We could actually drive traffic from Pinterest to this page right now. Now there's a couple things I want to show you though, because now that you have your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page built using your lead pages template, and you've got your Google Analytics code pasted on it, and you've got your Facebook tracking retargeting pixel placed on it, you've got your menus all set up, and your extra pages created, your more information pages, you want to run traffic. So how do you do that? Where do you link this to, right? Where do you link these pages to? That's what we're going to talk about next. The first option is just linking over to an offer page that you have pre-built. So you've pre-built your offer page. In this case, we've pre-built our offer page. It's our Shopify e-commerce store, and all of the links that are here are linking over to our Shopify e-commerce store, right? That's one option. Pre-built offer page, or maybe it's the long-form sales page that you built for your product. Maybe it's a long-form sales page, like I showed you some of the other long-form sales pages from last week. A long-form sales page example. I'll just see if I can pull one up. So, here. Grab you an example of a long-form sales page. So this is not I don't think this is a very good long-form sales page, but this is a page that has a video on it, add to cart button, it's long, it's got text. So this is like a sales page, right? Basically, you're linking to an offer that you own, that's on your website. It's not on Amazon. So that's one option. And the way that you do that is literally when you're ready to transition into the offer, like here's where we transition into our offer, you just select the text in lead pages. You select the text, you click on the link button, and you paste in your link that you want it to go to. Now, when I come over here and I click these links, you'll see that it goes to BeFriendlySkincare.com, but there's all this other, there's these UTM codes that are attached to it. So why have I done that? Why have I added codes that are attached to the URL? The reason is because this link is coming from a blog, right? It's coming from blog.BeFriendlySkincare.com, and it's going over to BeFriendlySkincare.com. So it's called cross-domain linking. I'm linking from one domain, blog.BeFriendlySkincare.com, to another domain, BeFriendlySkincare.com. Even though they're on the same root URL, which is BeFriendlySkincare.com, they're technically different. In that one of them's a WordPress website, and in the eyes of Google Analytics, there's a blog, and then there's there's another analytics account for the regular domain because they're separate websites. So I've added some tracking code so that I can see who's coming from this article. I can see all the people who click over from this article. Now, if you want instructions on how to set up the tracking code, if you're going to be linking from your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page over to your Shopify store or a long-form sales letter, let me know, and I will show you that. For now, I think most of you are going to be linking to Amazon, so I want to show you how to link to Amazon. So one option is that you could link directly. You do the same thing, and you could just link this directly to your Amazon product. Now, the problem with that is that you can't track any sales that way. You have no idea if anyone's buying anything. So what I would recommend doing is signing up for an Amazon Associates account. affiliate-program.amazon.com, affiliate-program.amazon.com. Join now for free, so go ahead and sign up for that, affiliate-program-amazon.com. And that's going to give you the ability to get into a place that looks like this. And this is your Amazon Associates account. So I'm going to search for my product. I'm going to click Go. Now I've found my product. I'm going to click Get Link. I'm logged out. Don't actually have the password handy. Let me actually turn off my video screen for a moment while I grab the password for you. All right, now I'm logged in. So here we go. We should be back on. Minimize this. So basically, I'll search for my product. Here, it'll show up. I'll click Get Link, copy that link, and now when I link to this product, that's going to take me to my product, but it's going to do so through an Amazon Associates link, so I can come in here, I can go to reports and earning reports, and I can see all the clicks over to my product, orders report. I can see how many clicks I got to that product. Let's go back. Product links. So that's one option, is that you click on Get Link and you can create a link for that product. And that'll give you a URL. And then basically what you would do is once you have that link, you come over into your pre-sale page, and instead of linking over to Shopify, you just edit this and you'd link through your Associates account, through your through that link that you made from your Amazon Associates account. Let's go back in here. So we've just covered how to get the links through the Associates account, and that way you'll be able to track. Now, it's not 100%. Amazon Associates doesn't track 100% of sales, but it tracks a good number of them. So that's a good way to get an idea of how many sales you got from running to Amazon. Now, here's what you would do if you wanted 100% tracking. You want to know exactly how many sales you get from going from your pre-sale page to Amazon. So I just covered number one. You could go directly to Shopify from this page like we're doing. Number two, you could go over to Amazon through an Associates link, which works really, really well. I know a lot of people running that, doing extremely well with it. Now, number three, here's where things get interesting. It's significantly more robust sales funnel. I don't recommend starting with it. I recommend starting with the easier one where you're just linking directly to the product on Amazon through an Associates link, or you're linking to your Shopify store. But if you want to take things to the next level, if you really want to, if you want to go for a more robust sales funnel, and it may be, you may want to test both and see which one works better. But this one's significantly, it's more work, but it gives you full scale tracking. So here's what you do. What you do is you say, come over to this page, and you say, instead of saying click here to learn more about this product, you say click here to get a discount of this product, to get a coupon for this product on Amazon.com, right? So So you say click here to get a discount on this coupon on Amazon.com, and you select this and you click this link, but instead of linking it to a URL, you say show an opt-in form. You say show an opt-in form. And then you click here to edit the opt-in form. So I'll click done. So now this link is going to show an opt-in form. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to click show an opt-in form, and I'm going to edit the opt-in form. And now I'm going to say, I actually need to pre-build this. So if you're using ActiveCampaign or Aweber or whatever you're using, you actually have to build an email list that you can connect to. If you don't want to do that, you can literally just say, you can use lead page notifications. And this way, if you use lead page notifications, what it does, it just emails you a notification anytime someone signs up for this, so you don't actually have to integrate it to like an ActiveCampaign or an Aweber account. And you can just collect emails, and it's going to go directly. It's just going to email you whenever that happens. So I'm going to click X out of the phone number. I'm going to click X out of the name. I'm going to change this to a picture of the product. So I'm going to scroll down and grab a picture of the product that we would be promoting, which would be the, let's say, face and eye cream. Upload that, click on OK, and I'm going to say enter your email to get a 20% discount on Be Friendly's face cream on Amazon.com. Now I'm going to modify this text a little bit so it fits on 2 lines, because I really like to have that fit on 2 lines. There we go. Okay, I'm going to edit the button, change the text to say get my Amazon.com discount code. Lead page is a little bit funky with how their buttons look, so I'm going to go ahead and make the spacing a little bit wider. I'm going to change the button color to just be, I'm going to change the button color to be green. I like green buttons. I'm going to get rid of this text shadow, make it white. Let's see, how do I get rid of the text shadow here? Yeah, make the text shadow black, actually. And I'm going to make the border color white. So I've now modified it. I've made this button look a lot better. Get my Amazon.com discount code. I'm just going to actually say Amazon. So now I've got a nice looking button. Maybe make it be a little bit bigger text. Spacing a little bit more. There we go. And put a space between Amazon discounts. So get my Amazon, I'll just say coupon code. Okay, so now I've got a, I'm going to change this text up here that says almost there. Please complete this form and click the button below to get your coupon code. Okay, so now we've got an opt-in. I'm going to click OK. So now this is going to show an opt-in code. So then I'll go here, and I'll click right there. I'll click show an opt-in form. Done. And show an opt-in form. So all my links would then pop up the opt-in form. So that way, people would be entering their email address to get a coupon. So you're probably thinking, well, how do you deliver the coupon code to them? Now, I would actually not recommend when you set this to show an opt-in form. I would actually not recommend using. So I would actually not recommend using the integration settings and lead pages notifications. You can do that if you want. It's real simple that way, but it's a little bit better if you use it's a little bit better if you use an integration like something a little bit like maybe Aweber or MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, because what that'll do is it'll allow you to send people follow-up emails. Here, all you can do is set a thank you page so that they end up on a thank you page after they enter their details on this opt-in form. And I'm going to show you how to create that thank you page. But if you use an integration like Aweber or something like that, you can have it be that when they enter their email address, they actually get put on an email sequence that says, "Hey, thanks for opting in. Here's your coupon code." But so you need a thank you page, right? So if you're doing the opt-in version, you need to come over here when you're editing the opt-in form and actually edit the thank you page and set a thank you page. Now, it goes without saying that you also need to create a coupon in your Seller Central account so that you have a 20% discount to give these people when they opt in. Option 1 was send Shopify. Option 2 was to link directly to Amazon using an associate link. Option 3 is to give them a coupon code. So congratulations, claim your coupon now, only 47 left, put a picture of the product. Here is where you would enter your Amazon coupon code, right? Amazon.com coupon code. Now step 1, you're going to tell them to click the button to go to your Amazon.com page, say something about your product. You can replace this image. You can download this image and just replace it with your product, or you can just use this image with our product on it. Step 2, put our product in your shopping cart, so whatever it is. Step 3, on the checkout page, enter our coupon codes, and you put your coupon code here. So whatever it is, maybe it's 20 off, 35 or whatever, PDF, whatever you want to call it. And then it's going to say when you reach the Amazon checkout page, there'll be a section called Gifts and Promotional Codes. Enter the coupon code, whatever it is, and click Apply. Your total price will be, and then whatever is, whatever 20% off your product is or whatever you're giving. I recommend doing 20, 30, 40% off, something like that to incentivize them. Tell them change the coupon code out here. Step 4, leave feedback on Amazon.com. We welcome all feedback. Shows a picture of feedback. And then use my coupon deal. Put your coupon code here. And then on Order Now on Amazon.com, this would link over to your Amazon product. And then over here, what people are saying about us, this section here is going to be not relevant. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete it because you're not going to be using it. And we're going to delete the how to join because this is irrelevant as well. Delete that. How to join. Use my coupon code. Delete everything at the bottom. Get rid of that. And there we go. Now we've got a thank you page that you can use. So if I were to test, save it. Obviously, this would have your information and your coupon code on it. I would then add this to my website the same way I added those other pages to my website using WordPress. And then once this page was added to my website, I'm not going to actually do it right now. Here it is. Congratulations. Claim your coupon code. Takes them through the steps. And then it links over to your Amazon product. So then when you're editing your opt-in box, right? When you're editing your opt-in box here, edit the opt-in form, you would use that as your thank you page. So after they opted in, they would land on a really nice thank you page that was set up to deliver them the discount coupon that you were offering them. So 3 options. Option 1, after you've built out all of your Dipsy Doodle landing pages, your pre-sale article, your about, contact, your home page, your privacy policy, you've got everything ready to go, ready to run ads to. You've put your Google Analytics code on it. You've put your Facebook tracking pixel on it. You're ready to run traffic. You've got to figure out where you want to send people. You can send them to your own website, send them to Amazon through an associates, or you could send them to, you can have it opt them in for a discount code. Again, I'd recommend probably not starting with the opt-in. So that is what you need to do this week. This week you need to build out your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale article page. You need to create your more information pages about us, contact us, and your store blog, and your privacy policy and your terms of use. And you need to figure out where you are linking your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale page to. Are you linking it to Amazon? Are you linking it to Shopify? Are you linking it to an opt-in form that delivers a coupon that then goes to Amazon? So set that up, and then next week what we'll do is we'll actually run traffic. So now I'm going to answer all your questions. I'm going to, this is all recorded. I'm going to deliver the recording to you. Questions from the top. Hey Ezra, can you summarize today the process to make sure we get a bump in the Pinterest ads approval process? Sure. What you need to do for that is you need to create a Pinterest account. You need to verify your website with Pinterest. You need to fill out all of the settings that you have, all of your account settings, social profiles, fill everything out. And then you need to create 10 boards, and you need to pin to those boards every day. That's it. Pin to those boards. You do 15 to 20 pins total each day, and that's going to give you everything you need. If you're only getting 2 or 3 followers, it's no big deal. You'll notice this account got accepted. It's only got 12 followers and 33 pins. So it doesn't take a lot. They're doing it in waves. The last wave was last week. There's going to be another wave coming up soon. If we have a WordPress site, why would we need this homepage template? The reason why you need the homepage template is so that you have a congruent website with your Dipsy Doodle pre-sale articles, so that your homepage, your about page, your contact page, all that stuff is congruent with the article that you're promoting. That's why you need that. Is it better to have 2 different Pinterest accounts for each brand we own, or one big company board with different brands? I would create a different Pinterest account for each brand. Right now I have a Pinterest account for Boom by Cindy Joseph, one for Be Friendly, one for Smart Marketer. I would do one for each brand and try to get them all approved for ads. Ezra, do you still sell your Shopify template? Jane wants to know. Jane, the way that we sell our Shopify template currently is through an e-commerce boot camp, where you come to New York, we sit down with you, we help out your store for 3 days, and that's the only way that we have it available right now, because it's actually more than a template. It's not just a template. It's pre-purchase sales funnels and post-purchase sales funnels and all these kind of things that if I just gave you a template to install, it wouldn't do anything. You need the marketing and automation that goes along with it. We are working on a do-it-yourself version. I'll let you know as soon as we get that ready, if we do get that ready. But for now, our boot camp is really the only way that we have. Question from TK says, I have a domain name registered on GoDaddy. How do I connect it to Shopify? So what you do is you buy a Shopify plan, and you set up your store on Shopify through their back end, and then they have a little section called domains, and they walk you through how to connect the two. Shopify has great resources on that. It's really, really simple. It's just pointing your domain. You basically point the IP address of the domain to Shopify. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. Can you share a couple of tricks about how to get normal sales on Amazon versus 2,000 characters with no HTML tags? A normal sales page. Oh, on Amazon, I highly, highly recommend. So what he's asking is, hey, can you teach me how to make my Amazon listing have images and stuff like that? Don't do that. It's against their terms of service. They don't want you to do that. People who are shopping on Amazon, if they see all the red text and stuff like that, it's jarring to them because none of the products they see have it. So it doesn't actually even help your conversion rate. So don't do that. Just use normal Amazon layout with some bolding. Look at our Be Friendly products for how you should lay it out. That's as aggressive as you want to get. Multiple lead pages, one subdomain. How does that work? Deb Smith wants to know. So you have your subdomain, blog.yourwebsite.com. You create all these lead pages, and then you set different extensions for them, /about, /contact, /whatever. So that's how that works. So Madeline says, so you're saying the Boom by Cindy Joseph site is your website, but you do not have Shopify on that website. Your Shopify website is Be Friendly, where you also have, I think you're confused. BoomByCindyJoseph.com is its own brand, It is my website. It is Shopify. I also have a blog on it. BeFriendly.com, skincare.com is its own brand. Shopify has a website and a blog. Actually, BeFriendly has a couple different blogs. We've got blog.befriendlyskincare.com where I installed all of this lead pages stuff. We've got another WordPress implementation on a different extension, something like WordPress.befriendlyskincare.com. So we've got a couple different things going on. But for your purposes, you're going to have your domain name, and then you're going to have blog. Which will have your lead pages set up. Question: which lead pages is most beneficial? Which lead pages account? You just need the basic one. You don't need anything more than that. Jeff wants to know if we have a service where we answer over voicemail 24/7, or if we use voicemail telling people to we'll follow up with them. We have customer service from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. where we're answering it, our own internal team, and then at the rest of the time it goes to voicemail. I'd recommend just having it ring to your cell phone, so using a service like ringcentral.com and having it ring to your cell phone, and then when you don't want it to ring, you just set it so that it only rings it only rings 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The rest of the time it goes to voicemail. Hanek wants to know where they can get a phone number for their website, especially a Skype-free number. My favorite resource is ringcentral.com for phone numbers, and you can set them to roll to your cell phone. Probably an easier one to use is Grasshopper. This is probably even easier than RingCentral, or maybe even a little cheaper. Grasshopper.com. Yeah, this one's probably a little bit cheaper. I don't know what the pricing is, but RingCentral is like $9 a month. Grasshopper is probably pretty similar, and basically you just buy an 888 number that then rolls to your cell phone. Harry is really happy with the speed of the call. He doesn't think it's too fast. Thanks, Harry. How much time did you spend creating these pages? That Svetlana wants to know. For me, it's going to take me a lot longer, she said. All those pages that you saw, the Dipsy Doodle pre-sale article page, the About page, the Contact page, the blog home page, I created in 3 hours. It took me 3 hours to create all those pages. Maybe actually a little bit, not quite that long actually, because I got up and I did some stuff. I'm proficient with lead pages. Hey, it takes you as long as it takes you, but at least you have lead pages templates that are beautiful and that'll work for you. So it doesn't really matter how long it takes you, just know that you get it done. Jessica says, make sure that you don't use Safari to download the lead pages WordPress plugin because it automatically unzips the file, in which case you have to zip it back up. So good tip there, Jessica. Dave says, look, man, I don't really understand why we can't have all this on our main website, but I guess you'll cover that. So here's the deal, Dave. If you're using Shopify as your main website, then you can't also install WordPress on it. And lead pages doesn't connect to Shopify, so there's no way to get these pages on there. If you're not using your main website domain for anything, if you just have an empty domain name, there's nothing on it, then you could install WordPress on that and have it be on your main domain name. That would work. The reason we can't is because our main domain is Shopify. And I recommend that each e-commerce business has an e-commerce store on Shopify. So that's why. But if you don't have a regular domain name, if you're not using Shopify, if you're just using WordPress, for example, if you're using WordPress on your regular domain name, then yeah, you could just put these on, mydomainname.com/mydomainname, and then you would, you could do that. Deb Smith wants to know if I'm concerned with SEO optimization as we design these pages. Not at all, because these pages are only for direct response marketing. They're only for sending traffic to. They have nothing to do with SEO. We're not trying to rank these pages. We're not trying to do anything with them other than buy traffic from Facebook and Pinterest and Google and send them to these pages. So Carol says, should we include our About Us video from our Shopify site on the blog About page? Sure, yeah, if you've got an About video, definitely include that. And this comes up the time to answer the question, hey Ezra, should I have my blog, should I set this blog up to be on survivalnews.com? and have a survival news logo and have my pre-sale article on survival news and have an about survival news page and a contact survival news and have it look like my pre-sale article is from a completely different brand, the same way that Proactive is doing on popdust.com, where Proactive is placing these articles over on PopDust. See if we can get it to pull up. Let's see. So Proactive is placing these articles over on a completely separate blog that has nothing to do with their website. So it looks 100% arbitrary and like, has like, for like nobody else wrote it. But then they've got this little disclaimer presented by Proactive at the bottom, the same way we've got our little disclaimer presented by Be Friendly at the bottom of ours. So what's better? A standalone blog that doesn't look like it's connected to my website, or a blog that's connected to my website? Well, the way that I prefer to do it is I like to have my pre-sale articles actually on, connected to my website, made it very clear that they're coming from me, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I prefer that, and that converts really well, and there's no confusion, and I don't have to worry about it. You could do either way. A lot of people. This is the part I'm talking about where if we go over to the article, we've got the, this is an advertisement for Be Friendly Skincare. A lot of people prefer to have it not on their blog. I feel like if you can get it to like that, there's not really much of a conversion increase if it's not on your blog or if it is on your blog. What matters is how well written the article is. So it doesn't really matter where it is, in my opinion. So I just put them on my blog, make it easier, keep it within my brand. And in that way I don't have to try to create a whole separate brand and a whole separate blog that looks like it's not part of my brand, do any of that kind of stuff. You could do that. You could try that, see how it works for you. I like doing it this way. It really doesn't really make much difference from conversion. Why don't you have home, about, and contact linked to your Shopify store instead of your blog? The reason why I don't have home, about, and contact linked to my Shopify store is because I want this article to have a congruent layout. I want it to have a congruent blog homepage, and I want it to have a congruent about page and contact page. You could link them to wherever you want, frankly. Not a whole lot of people are going to click on anything but the store link, which is going to link to the product, and then the links in the article. So do whatever you want, but I much prefer having a congruent setup that fits to my pre-sale article. I find that works better. Cynthia says, if we link from our store, in this store link, to our Amazon page instead of to our Shopify store, would we use a super URL? I heard that it hurts our conversion sending people directly to the Amazon page. Sure, you could use a super URL. You could also use an associates link, which is what I'd recommend, is an associates link, so you can track it. It only hurts your conversion rate. So what Cynthia's asking is, if I send a whole bunch of traffic directly to my Amazon listing, is it going to hurt my conversion rate? Well, it only hurts your conversion rate if you drive people directly there and they don't buy. When you're just sending thousands of people there, like if you're linking directly from Facebook to Amazon, then people are going straight to your Amazon listing, and you haven't filtered them, and they don't convert well, so it lowers the conversion rate of your Amazon listing, which then hurts your rankings. But this way, they've been filtered through this pre-sale article, so by the time they're clicking over to your Amazon product, they're looking to buy it. They're ready to buy it, so it doesn't actually hurt you. All right. Carol Rain says, are all of your posts on the Be Friendly blog actually pre-sale pages, or are they regular blog posts? Well, in our case over here, this blog, we just actually linked to our pre-sale page twice, and then once out to the Boom page. So I'm hoping that anyone who comes here, anyone who lands on our pre-sale article, and then says, I want to check out their blog, or I want to click on the home page, and then starts here, actually ends up clicking back over. My hope is back over to the pre-sale article, but I do have one link off of the website. You could link to anything else you wanted. It's really just kind of for show and congruency. It's not really going to affect your conversion. Svetlana says, my very first page is not going to be as perfect as yours. Do I need to create new ones for future or to recreate the first one first? You know, it's okay if it's not as perfect as mine. I've been doing it longer. Just make sure that it looks nice from a design standpoint. Make sure that your images on your that when you go into edit an image, that you actually make sure that the image that you replace it with is the correct width. You know, make sure that you kind of try to make it look as nice as you can. And hey, your pre-sale article may not convert the first time around. You write another one. It's all about testing, and you're going to have to take some time and energy. If you don't succeed with your first pre-sale article, you write another one. Roxana says, this is so helpful and it's so clearly explained. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm trying, you know, this, and it's funny because like most of the courses that I've put out have been sort of the really polished, the modules are preset, there's little intro videos and stuff, kind of the way we're going to do this when we relaunch it. And so, you know, when we do these like just brain dump, 2 hours of content, tell you everything you need to know, you guys are sort of the, you know, you guys are the ones who are up for that kind of thing. You know, you guys came on board for the beta, and you wanted to have access to the information before it was polished because it's so new. So I'm glad that you're able to follow it. I know that it can feel overwhelming, and you know that it feels like a lot, and it is a lot. You're learning how to create direct response sales funnels. You know, it's a big deal, and we haven't even gotten into advertising yet. We haven't talked about Facebook advertising. We haven't talked about Google advertising. We haven't talked about Pinterest. So there's more to come. How do we connect all this complex setup, lead pages, Pinterest boards, promoted ads, with our monetization hub, for example, Shopify, that is all optimized, easy to track and update? I'm not really sure I understand what you're asking here. I don't understand the question, so ask it again and see if you can make it a little bit clearer. All right. Paul wants to know, can we time our pixel to make sure that we're only retargeting people who visited the page for a certain amount of time? That is not available within lead pages. You can't delay the pixel firing for your retargeting pixel. So it's going to build a retargeting list of everyone who landed on that page. But that's okay because it's still a good retargeting list. Yes, you can't do that. Jane wants to see the Facebook pixels again. Sure, I'll show you that. So in your Facebook Ads Manager, you go over to Audiences, and then you click on Create an Audience, and it's going to be a custom audience for website traffic if you want to get people to visit your website. You're going to select people who visit a specific page. You then put in the URL of the page. You name it. Then it's going to show up in your audience list, and then you just select it, Actions, View Pixel, get the pixel, and you paste it on your page. Carol wants to know if I created a bee-friendly pre-sale page that went to my entire line. Yes, the way that we did this bee-friendly pre-sale page was we did it where basically it's just like pre-selling the entire line of products. So, you know, it talks about, and then it transitions into checkout bee-friendly skincare, which now it's popping up that opt-in box because I've modified the page, but I have to go ahead and fix that actually fast. This one's showing the opt-in box too, but this one we didn't modify, so that one's going to our collection. But you could also have this pre-sale page be about a specific product and then link over to a specific product. You could link it to a specific, you know, you could be doing your pre-sale and you could transition into like, you know, these are my probiotics, and then you could link over directly to that one product. That works even better actually when you don't give people a lot of choices. We're going to redo this pre-sale page and have it go just to our face cream and split test and see if it works better going all of our products or just to the face cream. But I would actually recommend writing your Dipsy Doodle and having it pre-sell only one item, not the way that we've been doing it here with multiple items. When signing up an Amazon Associates account, do we use the same email as our Seller Central email? No, use a different email. So use a different email than you use for your Seller Central account. Do the Associates account have to be different from your Seller Central account? I don't know if they actually have to be, but we use a different email, so you could use one too. I don't believe they have to be, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. Where is the lead pages plugin to put into WordPress? So when you're in lead pages and you click on publish for a page, then it gives you the option to download the lead pages WordPress plugin. So you actually have to create the page, edit it, then publish it, and then you can get that plugin. Okay. Roxana says, if you link to an Amazon Associates account, do you get a commission on your own product? I heard that's a no-no. Yes, you do get a commission on your own product, and no, it is not a no-no. What's a no-no is linking from Google AdWords search or Facebook ads or anything like that, any paid search directly to an Amazon Associates link. Amazon doesn't care if you link from, if you send traffic from Facebook or from Pinterest to a page that page then has an Associates link on it that goes to your product. That's totally okay. It's okay if it's your product. We've gotten a response directly from an Amazon associate says that there's no rule against using an Associates link to your own product as long as you're not doing it from paid search. So we were really afraid of that for a long time. We thought that you couldn't double dip, that you couldn't link to your own product because Amazon was against it, but we couldn't find anywhere in the terms of service that it said don't use an Associates link to go to your own product, because we don't actually care about the 4% commission. We just care about being able to track, which it doesn't even do that great of a job of. It tracks fairly well, but it doesn't track all the way. So we got in touch with our Amazon rep. Mike had the great idea. He was like, why don't we just ask them? And they said, look, we have the email, we have the proof, so if they ever come at us, just, you can do it. There's no rule against it. You just can't link from paid search. A lot of people want to know, is that violating Amazon's terms of service linking to your affiliate link and selling your own product? No. It's, as far as we can tell, it's not. We've not been able to find anywhere in the terms of service. We've asked Amazon directly about the specific issue, and they have said there's nothing wrong with it. Go ahead. So we're following their advice. We've had no trouble with it so far, and it seems to be fine. What you can't do is link directly from Google AdWords to through an Amazon Associates link directly from a Facebook ad, but they don't mind you going to your own website and then linking from your website over to an Amazon Associates link. Because think about it, all the Amazon Associates links are being linked from people's blogs, people's websites. So, yeah. Harry says, great stuff. You covered a whole lot. Thank you so much. I mean, we did cover a lot today. It's just the setup of, really it actually wasn't that much. It's just really the setup of your sales funnels that we can then drive traffic to it next week. On the Muffin Top page, Jen wants to know, are you using an actual screenshot of your product on Amazon.com where the computer is shown? If so, can we personalize that? Yes, I am. And yes, you can personalize that. So the way that you would personalize that, I'll just show you, is you would come over here. Let's see if this is the one. Yeah, so you would grab this, and then you can drag this image. You could drag that image to your desktop, and then you can edit it, and you can pull it out. Or you could publish the page. Like, for example, you could publish the page like I did. So now the page is published. You could go to the page, and then you could drag this image from the page to your desktop, edit the image, put your product in there in that little spot, and then you could come back in here, and when you're editing the page, click on this image and replace it with the one that you edited. Or you could just leave our products in there. I bet you it won't hurt your conversion if you just leave the images that it comes with stock. But if you want to go ahead and edit those, you can. Hey Ez, what city are you living in right now? My close friend and roommate Dmitry Kozlov is interested in having you as a speaker at his Young Entrepreneurs event for six-figure entrepreneurs under 25 in Austin, May 4th and 5th. Would you be potentially open to speaking? Mike Dillard has confirmed. Thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate it. I'm running an e-commerce boot camp here in New York City, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So I wouldn't be able to travel right after that. I'd be too tired and want to lay low. But maybe some other time. Put them in touch. Roxana says, you are the bestest, mostest fantastic teacher. Thanks. I appreciate it. I try hard. I really do. What do you recommend on no follow tags? I don't think you need any no follow tags for any of this kind of stuff for what we're doing. Michael Bittler says, lay it on us. Bittler, man, Bittler's old school. Bittler's been with me for a while, so I'm glad that you're here, Mike. Boschwena is really confused by Shopify and WordPress and the Dipsy Doodle. Any chance of having an overview? Sure. Let me go ahead and show you what I mean here. Okay. Here's the deal. So over here we have our Shopify store. Okay. Now, if our domain name, let's say our domain name is cindyjoseph.com. Okay, so there's our domain. This is boombycindyjoseph.com, right? Now, I recommend that every e-commerce business owner has a Shopify store. So that's just a recommendation. For the purposes of this course, what we need is we need a house. Sorry. For the purposes of this course, we need a house. This is a nice little house. Well, let me just actually see if I can erase that. See if I can redraw my house here. For the purposes of this course, what we need, on a little bit thicker of a pencil, is we need a house. Nice little house. Little tree on top, maybe a bird. Let's give it a bird here, sitting on the roof. Little bird here, the roof of our house. Really happy bird. Little feather on its butt. Give it a leg, and we'll give it a leg. We'll also give it a purple afro. And a wing that also looks like a bee for Bob the bird. So we got our bird sitting on our house. Now we need this house to house our lead pages, okay? So for the purpose of this course, I have given you lead pages templates to use, right? I've given you a homepage lead pages template, right? Which you can see over here once that loads. And so this is the homepage lead page template I gave you. And I've given you a article lead pages template. So you got to create these pages on lead pages, and you need somewhere for them to live. You need a house for them. Well, I'm recommending that the house for your lead pages templates be WordPress. I'll just actually do WP. I recommend that you use WordPress as the house for your lead pages templates. And I recommend that you do so on a subdomain of your main website, if you have a main website. So that's how that works. It's really the whole point of lead pages is to give you a page that you can use to send traffic to, a Dipsy Doodle page, and you need a house for that. All right, Roxana Clements wants to some videos on how to use lead pages. We can do that. Ashley Armstrong says, even though it was totally over my head, I'm going to go back through it. Awesome, because next week we're driving traffic, baby. Next week is when the party starts. Next week we're turning on Pinterest ads. We may even talk a little bit about Facebook, so you got to get your sales funnel ready. Look, if you don't get your sales funnel ready, don't worry about it. Pinterest ads is like 3 weeks old, so you got plenty of time, but you know, it'd be nice to have something to send traffic to. What about those popular board widgets? We've covered that. The mic is cutting out. Sorry about that. I'm excited about everything you're sharing with Ezra. Thank you so much. You're welcome. I'm one of the few states that does not allow an Amazon Associates account. I have an e-commerce site that wants to send traffic to Amazon. It sounds like I'm going to have to jump right into option 3. Yeah, you probably just have to go to option 3 and do the coupon, because that way you can track, or you can just link directly to Amazon, but you won't be able to track. Is there a Shopify template that matches these pages? Nope, we don't have these built out on Shopify. We've only got them built out on lead pages. So that's the only way you can use those. If I currently have a website, should this be separate? I feel like I answered that earlier. My website currently has a page for products with a Buy Now button that links to my Amazon listing. Can I create the Dipsy Doodle sales page that links to that product on my existing website? If your existing website is WordPress, it's really easy. The other thing that you could do, if you wanted, if your existing website is built inside of HTML, then what you could also do is you could, when you're publishing your pages, you could click on download the HTML. You could download the HTML for the page that you created and upload it to your server. And what that would do is that would make so that you could actually put it on your main website. So yeah, you could put it on your main website that way, totally. Ezra, email, this is from Julia. She says, you don't recommend Leadpage's email service. Well, the thing about Leadpages is, so what she's asking us about is when you're doing these opt-ins, why don't you recommend Leadpages collecting the email and just sending you an email? The reason is because that's not an actual autoresponder. What Leadpages will do is it will collect the email address and it will notify you when someone has opted in, and it will send them to a thank you page. So someone enters their email address, I want the coupon, they land on the thank you page, they get their coupon, they go to Amazon to buy, you get a notification, this person has opted in. That's fine, but it doesn't give you the ability to set something up so that when someone enters their email address, they enter their email address, they go to the thank you page, they get their coupon, but they also get an automatic email that says, hey, here's your coupon code, don't forget to buy. You can't do that with Leadpages notifications. You can only do that with Aweber, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign. Send an automated email. And I'm going to open up some videos from another one of my courses where I actually show how that works with Leadpages. Okay. Let's see. Please clarify why you have the Be Friendly site and the Cindy Joseph site. Where do you place your Shopify site and why? Okay, Madeline, I think you're confused. Be Friendly is a separate brand. It's its whole own brand. Has nothing to do with Boom. Boom is a different. Okay, it's like for example, how you know, this is a skateboard helmet, Sector 9. They've got a brand of skateboard helmets. Quicksilver also sells skateboard helmets that look like this, but they're the Quicksilver brand. So they're two separate companies, completely separate brands. They're not anything to do with one another. I have multiple brands of products. Be Friendly is one brand that I share publicly. Boom by Cindy Joseph's another brand that I share publicly. So I have Shopify stores for each of them because they're their own separate businesses. Now that's why. They're not the same business. I hope that helps. Great stuff today, Ezra. I'm really stoked about everything that you can do with these templates. Have you noticed driving traffic to Amazon with these sales funnels also gives you a bump in organic rankings? Yes, huge bump, because you're sending sales into your Amazon account. And one of the things we've really noticed with Amazon lately is that if you can spike your Amazon listing with full price sales or close to it from outside of Amazon, it gives you a really, really nice bump in conversions, in rankings. Okay. Hey, Ez, it's Rob and Cheryl from Honolulu. Do you have any tips on to stop our brains from spinning? Thank you for always being over. I thought it was a real question. He's just being like, you're awesome. Thanks, man. Herrick says, nice. Convio is a free one. Let's see what Convio is. Not sure what that is. Convio. I'm not sure what it is. Okay. What suggestions do you have for voice contact from outside the USA? If you're outside the USA, I would just have a phone number that let people leave messages. It just, when it rings twice and then goes to a message that says, hey, thanks so much for calling. Please leave a message here. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. They leave a message. You then get back to them. You probably don't have enough volume to warrant having paying a customer service representative in the States. Carol says, hot diggity, I understood everything you talked about today. That's a leg up, Carol, because it used to be that you'd be confused about stuff. So I think you're stepping your game up. You've been in the game now long enough to understand all this stuff. Might a USA virtual credit card help non-USA students get Pinterest ads accounts sooner? Not that I hear. I hear that people who are trying the Payoneer and all that kind of stuff aren't having success with it. Jessica says Convio is a new free business phone number that rings to your cell phone, released by GoToMeeting. Wow, that actually sounds pretty cool. Free, huh? Well, maybe worth checking out. Mark says, thanks so much, good stuff. Susan says, awesome content, thank you so much. Vicky says, I have 2 products. Product has its own sales page. Should I replace them with my pre-sale page? Should I replace them with my pre-sale page? Well, your pre-sale page is different from your product sales page. Your pre-sale page is to drive traffic, to a product sales page, so you don't have to replace them. Is there a way to configure the pixel for people who just buy versus didn't buy? Well, you can't really do that because you're sending traffic to Amazon, so there's no way to say, oh, this person bought on Amazon, so take them off of my retargeting audience, unfortunately. So Shopify doesn't track, but it's your recommended e-commerce solution. Shopify does track. Shopify has great tracking. People saying you're the man. Are the pages responsive for mobile? Yes, they are. Do you know of any restrictions on promoting weight loss supplements on Pinterest? I don't know about supplements, actually. They've got, if you just Google Pinterest, if you go to Pinterest's restricted ads, Pinterest business help, they've got a whole section on what is, you can go to see, you can see, there's a, let's see, there's a way to, they've got sort of a terms of promoted pins, tools, brand guidelines, there you go. So on here is where they'll tell you, one of these lists under tools, they'll tell you what's available, what's not. Thanks, Ezra. Thank you for that. All right, guys, I got to the end of the questions. I know this felt like overwhelming. Next week we get into ads. I'll do the ads much slower, and I'll really take my time and do it real step by step so that it's like really clear, because the ad side's very important. This is really just setting up the landing pages. It's pretty straightforward stuff in lead pages. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch up with you guys on next week's call for PinCommerce. Have a great week. Bye.